We've got a lot to talk about here tonight, guys, and I'm sorry I don't have Dina or Anna or someone here with me tonight. I'm solo. This COVID thing's a wonderful thing, right? It's making me be solo here in the studio. We have hardly anybody in the office here still because I guess here in Arizona, we're like the world's leader when it comes to COVID right now. So we're still right in the midst of it, unfortunately, even though we're 2021. So we're dealing with it. And unfortunately, for those of you that were ready to go to our Medellin tour, was supposed to be happening in 3 days, we had to cancel that at the last minute on Friday because the mayor of Medellin decided that they were going to lock down everybody for the weekend, starting on Friday night until Monday morning. They're not allowing anyone to go out at all. And that really puts a big damper on the socials. Really hard to do that when something like that happens, and chances are it's going to happen again this coming weekend. And even if it didn't, they were still locking everything down at 10 o'clock at night, which doesn't make it, I mean, we probably could have got away with that, but you know, the entire lockdown for the weekend is just too much. So that just happened last weekend. It wasn't like that before. That's what I mean. You know, everything we're dealing with now is very spontaneous, happens very quickly, changes very quickly. So we're trying to do the tours in this environment, but it's very, very difficult. However, in Colombia, it's up to the mayors on how they're going to be doing things in their city. So Barranquilla has not taken those draconian efforts as they just did in Medellin. So there's a possibility, hopefully, that our Barranquilla tour, scheduled for the 28th, will go. And hopefully we'll be able to do that. So guys, if you do want to try and do one of these group tours, we still may be able to do the one in Barranquilla on the 28th and then Cartagena on the 4th. Those are our next two tours that we are hopeful, and I'm crossing my fingers, but hopeful that they're going to go, okay? So if you do want to attend either of those tours, you got to jump on as soon as possible, get your name on there and start getting with Michelle so you get all the paperwork together and get everything ready so that you can be one of these guys going to a table like that and talking to these wonderful women. You know, we'll do our best to keep everyone as safe as possible with the COVID protocols. But again, you know, we will abide by whatever the rules and regulations are in Colombia at that time in that city. All right. So hopefully we can make that work. You know, we do have some April tours coming up for Eastern Europe and the Ukraine. April 8th, we'll have a Kiev Kharkov tour, and then the 15th, we're going to be doing NEP and ZAP. Would love to be able to do those as well, and we're keeping our fingers crossed on that too. But, you know, to me, and anyone who knows me, guys, you know that the tours are the most important thing for me. I love the group tours. I think they're great. I think it's a fantastic way to get over there and meet a lot of different women at once. It's an experience that every man should have at least once in his life. There's nothing, I mean nothing like it. But it's hard to do right now in this age of COVID, but hopefully we'll get past that soon. All right, before we get too much into this, I want to get our poll question out because I want you guys to be including that poll question in today's show, because this is going to be the theme of our show here tonight, and that's: how do you intend to change your life in 2021? How will you do it? Or will you do it? Or are you even going to think about it? Because, again, it goes back to that resolution thing, right? That we come into a new year, and we have this new beginning, this new start, 2021, and we're going to make these resolutions. I'm going to drop 20 or 100 pounds. I'm going to, you know, learn to fly. I'm going to learn Russian, Spanish. I'm going to do all these things, you know, and then by the time February comes, I think I saw a study once where like 75% of the resolutions just go away within 30 days or something like that. You know, you can see where the gyms, they get really, really crowded the first week or two. Right? January 15th, January 10th, you can't even get in there hardly. No parking spots in front of those gyms. Always cracks me up when you go into a gym and you see someone circling around to get a really good parking spot so they don't have to walk very far. I've never made much sense to me. If you're going to the gym, you should be parking way the hell someplace else and walking. You're trying to get exercise, right? All right, call me crazy. All right. Now I lost my point of thought here. So what will you do to change your life, right? I mean, what will you do to try and maybe make it different this year than it was last year? Maybe not spend the holidays alone this year. Maybe not spend your birthday alone this year. Maybe try to meet that special someone. And whether that's with us or someone else, you know, really, I don't care. I think it's important that you make it happen for you. And if you can find someone on a local dating site here, that's fantastic. If you can find someone on our site, that's fantastic. It doesn't really matter. The point is that you're trying, that you're out there trying to do something different. You're not just in the same old routine. Because, guys, as you get older, it gets so easy to slip into that routine. You know, go to work, come home, weekend comes, have a beer or two, do something. But you're not trying actively to change. And if you don't try to change, the routine will bury you. It absolutely will bury you, and you'll never get out of it. You don't even know you're in it so much, right? But you are. Just think about what you do. Think about what you do week in and week out. And ask yourself, do I need to make some changes? Do I need to do something that's going to spice up my life, that's going to give me an opportunity to meet different people, going to give me an opportunity to meet people that are thinking the same way I am about trying to find that special someone? Do I need to do that? And, you know, if you've been single for a long time and you've been wanting to try and find someone, then the answer is probably going to be yes. And if that's the case, then you need to take a serious look at something, whether it's a foreign affair, whether it's some local dating site, whether it's a local matchmaker, whatever it is that's going to get you out of your comfort zone, off your couch, away from your keyboard, and into the real world of human interaction and meeting these wonderful women. There's so many great women out there, guys. Yes, it's been since what, last February, since I was out of the country, since I was out, you know, doing the tour, and I was in the Ukraine then. But my God, it was so great. I mean, we had hundreds and hundreds of women that came and attended, and it was fantastic. And then the last tour we did was in the Philippines in March, and that was fantastic. But since then, yeah, I haven't been able to go anywhere, and many of you haven't, although we've had quite a few individual travelers that have made their way to the Ukraine or made their way to Colombia or places like that where you can go. You still can't go to the Philippines. If you're a foreigner, you just can't get into the Philippines. You can't get into China. You can't get into Thailand. But most of the other places that we go to, you can get into, but you're probably not going to be able to do the group thing right away. It'll probably be some kind of an individual. But getting back to our topic, guys, you know, let me know what you're thinking, how you're going to change your life, or do you even want to change? Maybe you're comfortable. I know many men who are, you know, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, who are just fine where they are. They don't want to upend their lives. They don't want to meet someone. They don't want to do all that. You know, they're just happy. And if that's who you are, that's fine. But that's probably not who you are if you're watching this right now. If you're sitting there on a Monday night and you're listening to me right now, then chances are you probably are thinking about changing your life. But guys, it's going to take more than just writing a few letters. It's going to take more than, I mean, I don't think you have to write any letters. I think you need to go over and meet in person. You got to get away from the keyboard. You got to get off of that virtual space, because that's changed us. It's changed the way we interact with each other immensely. You know, we're kind of like that lobster in their boiling pot who doesn't really know he's going to die until it's too late. It's kind of like what social media and all this stuff's doing to everyone, and it's just getting them to where they're more and more comfortable in this ether world, in this, you know, keyboard Romeo world, and they're not actually going for that one-on-one, in-your-face introductions, and that is where it really is. I mean, that's, if you want anything real to happen, then that's what you have to do. And we're one of the few companies that will push you to do that. Most everybody else wants you to stay online. They want you to keep writing the letters or doing the chat or doing that stuff. We don't. We want you to go over and meet in person. So we will help you change your life this year if that's something you want to do. And, you know, we usually talk about this in January and even into February. We're still talking about, okay, guys, did you make your resolution? Are you going to change it? What are you going to do? But you need to do it. You need to have an action plan. And you should write down the action plan. You should actually have the action plan, write down what you're going to do. Okay? And again, I don't really care if you come with us or not. I don't care how you do it, but I would love to hear from one of you guys at the end of the year. And you said, hey, John, I watched that show you did on Monday night when you had that stupid looking orange shirt on. By the way, I like orange. I don't think there's anything wrong with orange. And it's one of my favorite colors. Yes, I know it's a strange looking shirt, but I like it. So, John, I watched that show. You had the stupid shirt on. And you know what? I took your advice and I went on this local matchmaking site and I met this woman and now we're engaged or now we're married. I would love to hear that. That would make me happy. Just as happy as if, oh, I went on your tour and I met someone. Okay, that's fine too. I don't really care how you do it. You're a single guy. You're watching us right now and you're looking for options. You're looking for maybe a little motivation. And that's what we're trying to do here. All right. I am going to start getting into some of your questions. I'm going to do my best to answer all the questions that I need, sorry, I'm reading this, just where I need all the questions that I can here. Usually I get through all of them, but I'm going to be coming back to our theme, which is, what are you going to do this year? How are you going to change your life? How are you going to make something happen that's going to be different from 2020, right? It's going to be different from 2019 or 2018 or 2017, right? Because all these years add up. I can't tell you how many guys have come up to me and told me, hey, John, I've been looking at you guys for the past 15 years. I've been looking at you for the past 20 years. I've been looking at you for the past 25 years. We've been doing this now, guys, for 26 years, all right? And I get guys yeah, I know, the gray hair, it tells you, right? And I get guys all the time coming to me telling me that, saying, I wish I would have done this 15, 20, 25 years ago. Why? And my question is, why did you wait? Oh, well, you know, my family didn't want me to go. My friends didn't want me to go, this or that. Always a reason, right? And it's just ludicrous to me because if nothing else, guys, this will be one of the best vacations you'll ever have. It is an amazing experience in so many different levels. Yes, it's intended for you to meet a lot of wonderful women and hopefully the one that you can spend the rest of your life with. Absolutely. But there's so many other byproducts of this, so many other peripheral benefits that you get from one of these tours that it just makes it well worth it. Even if you don't meet the woman of your dreams, you're still going to come back. You're still going to be just as happy as you can. And chances are you're going to want to go again. Because it was just that much fun. It was that enjoyable. You got that much out of it. And I hear that from guys all the time. All right, let me get into some of your questions here. Joe says, hello, John. Thanks for what you do, exclamation point. Well, thank you, Joe, for being out there and supporting us and participating. He says, I'm all in, booking the next tour to Kiev, Kharkov as soon as possible. Cool, that's in April. Get it booked. Because, guys, we are going to probably limit that much more than we do in the past, only because of COVID restrictions. You know, we're only going to be able to take so many guys. That's what we did with the Medellin tour. We were already at our max, basically, when we had to cancel it because they changed the rules on us in the last minute. But these tours will fill up a lot quicker than they normally do because they're going to be smaller numbers of men that we can take over because we can't have the large groups that we normally have. And I imagine it's going to be that way till next year. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot until the end of this year into next year. I mean, it's just the way it's going to be. We're still dealing with this virus thing. Anyways, he says, I've done a lot of research, listened to your past and ongoing webcasts. My hot list overflows. I love that. My hot list overflows. I watched Two Brothers and a Bride. It's a fun movie, Two Brothers and a Bride. If you guys haven't seen that, it's just a fun movie. David Arquette, Tim Blake Nelson. I just watched a little bit of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou last night, and Tim Nelson's in that as well. But David Arquette's in this one, Tim Nelson, Emily Mortimer's in there. I mean, really, really talented actors that are in that movie. And the movie is just fun. You know, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. But it does give you some insight, especially David Arquette's character. If you watch David Arquette's character closely, you'll see how he came into this as very, very apprehensive and scared and zero confidence. I mean, when he first gets over there at the first social, he ends up, you know, going to the restroom, locking himself in there and throwing up because he's so nervous, right? But as he gets attention, as the tour progresses, his character changes and he becomes more confident, more, you know, just comfortable in his own skin, comfortable with the opposite sex, comfortable with meeting women, talking to women, all that. And I see that happen a lot to a lot of the men that take our tours and maybe haven't dated in a long time, maybe lost some confidence along the way, maybe went through a bad divorce or two, whatever it was that wounded them in some way or another. Not all the men that take our tour are wounded. There's all kinds of different types. But everybody has some baggage. And sometimes guys are just a little more shy. And then they go on the tour and these women actually want to talk to them. They came to meet them and they're smiling and they're not, what the guys have kind of become accustomed to when they go to the bars and restaurants here in the States. So this is just so different. And that movie, although it exaggerates a little bit, I think, because it's a movie and, and they're just trying to get this out there. Because, for those of you that don't know about how that movie that he's talking about, Two Brothers and a Bride, came about, the producers of that movie contacted me and they wanted to go on the tour just to experience it, to see if they wanted to do the movie. And they actually paid. They were married, but they paid to go on the tour just to be an observer, just to watch. And then they decided to do it. And they wrote the screenplay based on much on what they saw during the tour. And it was really, really interesting the way that all played out. So if you get a chance to watch the movie, I mean, it's an oldie. It's been around for a long time because we've been around for a long time, but it's kind of fun to watch. All right. And I'm looking forward to the April tour. So sorry, Joe, I broke up your question there because I was commenting on it, but thank you so much. And you are going to be doing the April one, then that's great. I'm looking forward to it too. And with both my fingers crossed, I'm really hoping that we can do it, because the worst thing in the world is what we had to do last Friday, basically, was to call the guys that were scheduled for the Medellin tour and tell them we can't do it anymore because of the protocol changes that the city of Medellin imposed. And, you just can't. You want to follow the rules. You have to. So, yeah. All right. Blue says, good evening, all. Well, good evening, Blue. Thank you for joining us. Stephen says, will there be any group tours to Ukraine before summer? Well, Stephen, I'm open for those April ones because if those don't go, the next one possibility will be July, which will be the summer tours. So we're hoping the spring tours will go. I give it about a 60-40 that it'll go, but there's that chance that it won't. And so time will tell. That's all I can say. I mean, this virus thing is still being ravishing here in Arizona. I think we have, we're the world's hotspot right now. Most cases and most deaths per capita, which isn't good. So that's not a record you want to have, but I guess we have that here where our office is. So, all right. Blue says the answer to this poll question is go to the Ukraine and find a life mate. Then get a liver transplant that I need. Blue, if that's serious there, I think you got your priorities mixed up there. I'd be getting that liver transplant first. Then I'd go meet the woman. That's just me. But, you kind of need that liver. You can live without the woman for a little while longer. I'm not sure how you can live without that liver. That's interesting. But I love the way you put the woman above the liver. I mean, that's commitment. I love that. It's great. But I'd go with the liver. Again, that's just me. Jeff says, hi, John. Hi, Jeff. How you doing? Keith, good evening from San Diego. Keith, good to have you. Leo, nice to see you. Where are the ladies? Yeah, well, COVID, sorry. So Dina's at home. Anna's still in Russia working from there. So we hope to get the ladies back soon. I know you don't tune in to see me in this stupid orange shirt, but it's what you're stuck with tonight. So we'll get through this together. It'll be all right. And we'll have women in here soon again. All right. Greg says, good evening, all. Greg's going to be going over soon. Greg, you and I just talked. I'm doing something. Oh, wait, we're trying to find a woman. That's right. But yeah, Greg's going to be going over soon. So nice to hear from you, Greg. All right, let's keep going here. Tuck. Richard says, is it true the United States consulate in Ukraine is not processing K-1 visas because of COVID? It's first I've heard of it, Richard. If that's true, I don't believe that's true. I believe they're still processing because the processing goes on in different, it goes on here in the USCIS, no matter where you're coming from. Now, did the consulate maybe stop doing the interviews for a while until COVID's done because of the protocols that are going on in the Ukraine? That's possible. But if that's the case, I'm sure it'll be short-lived, or they'll find a way to do it online somehow. Melvin says, good evening, guys. FYI, Peru is now requiring a 14-day quarantine upon arrival. This will certainly impact travel for those going to Lima. Yeah, Melvin, you know, and again, that's changing. We have a tour going there in March. And so, again, these governments, they just keep changing things and coming up with different hoops for everyone to jump through. So we'll have to see how long that is going to, you know, be. And what kind of changes they're going to have, because sooner or later, you know, you're going to start seeing the vaccine visa, right? Where, well, if you have the vaccine, you can prove you have the vaccine, then you can go. I haven't seen that yet, but I imagine that that's going to happen. Okay. Let's see, we have Andrew from South Australia. Andrew, you wrote like a book here. I'm going to try and get through this really, really quick because there's a lot here. But thank you so much for, you know, and you Australian guys, we love you guys. You guys, when you're on the tour, you make the tour that much better. You really do. There's something about guys from Australia, maybe it's that accent, but they always seem to have like a really positive attitude. You know, I don't think I've ever met a guy from Australia that didn't have that positive attitude, that kind of, you know, no worries, you know, another shrimp on the Barbie, that kind of thing. Just great attitude. You guys are wonderful from Australia. And we've had a lot of you guys on, we even did a whole TV show with you guys with one of your major news organizations there. They came out and filmed the whole thing from Australia. But we get a lot of you guys from Australia. You're wonderful guys. All right, Andrew, so he is saying that he's looking forward to viewing Tuesday his time. He would like to see our search facilities updated. As I pointed out a couple weeks ago, the marital status is an important criteria. Also, it'd be also nice if the keyword search did not ignore the last two fields, the lady's self-description, and the man she's looking for. So those are technical things. I'll keep those and I'll send those over to our tech staff and see if they can do that. Last year you introduced virtual seminars. Can I recommend that you hold one of these each year into the future for the benefit of those of us who reside outside the continental North America? Yeah, you know, I think you're right about that, and we will do that. I stopped doing the virtual ones, though, because it just didn't seem to be that much fun for you guys, and it certainly wasn't any fun for me. Not that that really matters. I'm more worried about you guys, but to sit up here and talk for 4 hours into a camera with no one here, and you guys have to sit there and watch, you know, at your home on a screen like that. It's just not the same as going to a seminar when I'm there, Tanya's there, and you guys are all there, and we're interacting with each other, and you guys are interacting with each other. Those seminars were amazing. I loved doing those seminars, and I cannot wait. Seriously, I cannot wait to start doing them again in person, though. But for those that live, you know, outside the U.S., it's harder for you to do. Although we've done some seminars outside the U.S. A couple of years ago, we did one in London, and we've done them in some other locations. Canada, of course, we've done several there, but we can't get everywhere. So doing a virtual one once a year for mainly guys outside the U.S., I think is a wise idea. I'm right there with you. He also says, please never stop doing the Monday night show, or the others for that matter. I'm not saying you should do them all the time, but you deliver them with an enthusiasm. Oh, you're talking about me doing it. Thank you. You do them with an enthusiasm that ladies cannot match. Well, and you thought the last week's show was very, very good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You know, part of that's the Mountain Dew, but part of that is, I did have some Mountain Dew today too, by the way, but I'm controlling myself so far. But part of that is my passion for what we do. I mean, look, I think if you're going to do anything for 26 years of your life, you should like it, you should enjoy it, or else don't do it, right? It's not worth all the money to do something as much as I do, and I do this, I live and breathe this, right? And so it's just not worth the money to do it if you really don't enjoy it. So sometimes I do get really passionate because I see where guys are just making huge mistakes. They're doing things they shouldn't be doing, and I know they shouldn't be doing it. I want to reach through the screen and just say, stop doing that. You know, like stop writing all those letters and go over and meet in person, because everything is different when you meet in person. And it's just so important for those kind of things. You know, but Yeah, so I appreciate that. And yeah, I don't do them all the time, and it's good to have other people in. And I like doing them sometimes with the other people, or let them just do it. But yeah, everyone's got their different deal. In a similar vein, is it possible to bring Greg back on the Wednesday once in a while? His wise insights were always a pleasure, as demonstrated by the fact that his words continue to be overlaid onto various YouTube clips. Greg is great. The only thing with Greg is he's married and he's got children now and busy, and he's got other endeavors that he's doing. So I don't know, but I'll reach out to him again, see if we can get him back in here. But he met his wife through us, as you know, in the Philippines, and he's doing fantastic. So we'll try. Greg does, and he's good. Okay. His wise insights. I continue to do my homework in anticipation of one or more club tours to an array of possible destinations. I am torn between the Philippines and the Ukraine. You can also read that as a euphemism for procrastination. Well, that's what this show is all about, right? What are you going to do this year to change your life? And you know what? That procrastination thing, huge. That's on my list of why men don't do these things. And it's about number 7 or 8 is I'll get to it later. Yeah, you probably won't. You probably won't, because you know what? A lot of times we put ourselves last. We take care of everybody else. We take care of all the other responsibilities, but we put off going to the doctor for ourselves. We put off all these other things that we should be doing for ourselves. Because at the end of the day, no one else really cares, especially if you're single. You hope that your wife cares once you're married, and she's going to help and push you, which a lot of women do, to make sure that you're doing more things for you. Because we always sacrifice ourselves. But the problem is, as you get older, you realize that, wait a minute. I've done all these other things for everybody else, and I've kind of forgotten about myself. And now it's starting to get a little bit late to try and help me do something about myself. Don't get to that point. Just don't let it happen. At some point, you have to say, I'm first. I got to take care of me, and I got to do whatever that is. And again, I don't care how you do it. Right? I mean, there are matchmaking sites here locally. You don't have to go overseas. There are wonderful women here as well. I really don't care how you do it. I happen to believe the international option is the best option. I think it's an amazing option. I think it's so different than what the domestic option is. And that means wherever you live. Right? If you're in the UK watching this, you have a domestic option, you have an international option, just like the States. And to me, the international option that we offer is second to none. It's just an amazing opportunity that you will never come close to experiencing here. But that doesn't mean you can't find someone here. I mean, it is possible. People do it all the time, right? I just think that if you are the kind of guy that wants to do his due diligence, explore all his options, then you should at least take a trip to one of these destinations, Either pick one, take your time and really pick one, or just, get a map of the world and throw a dart. And wherever that lands, go to the closest destination that we go to, if you're really that open to it. All right. And he's also asking questions here. He did write a lot here. I'm going to try to get through all this. You can also, can I thank you for the video with Joseph 2 weeks back. It raised for me the possibility of splitting a tour between various smaller Ukraine locations, which in and of itself holds great appeal. Yeah, guys, you can do more than one tour. You can split it. You can do a Euro Club to more than one destination. We're going to be one of the most flexible companies out there, I'm telling you. We will work with you. We will try to make it work. And if we think what you're doing is just not in your best interest, we'll tell you that too. Okay, it is my understanding that Slavic women delight in having doors open for them by their male companions. So, on protocol number 1, when the door opens inward, should the gentleman go through and hold it, or simply stand aside and push it open, permitting her to enter first? This is always slightly awkward. I always like opening the door, even if it goes inward, standing by it and letting her walk in. Because if you try to walk in first, then you're kind of like cutting in front of her. So if you can open it with one arm, and it's a little bit harder, you got to push that back with your arm, and then you let her in, that's more chivalrous. That's more like, okay, I'm opening this for you, and you're going in, then I will come in behind you. That's the way I would do that. And in 26 years, Andrew, no one's ever asked me that question. I've never thought about it, but when you asked, it made sense because I've been in that same kind of awkward position, and it's amazing that you asked that question. You are thinking. Yeah, no one has ever asked that. That's amazing. What of yourself and Tanya, now away from that region? Do you still do the car door, or have you reverted to the local custom? You know, I always try to open the doors for Tanya as much as possible. And the car door thing, yeah, not as much as I used to, I have to admit. I'm going to be honest. But, you know, especially if we're going out like someplace nice and everything, of course I do still. But day to day, every day, not as much, especially with my car, because my car is kind of weird. The door, when my door opens, that door doesn't open. It's a weird kind of car. And so it makes it harder for me to do that now with my car. But, and many of the Slavic women use the term in relation to the man they are looking for, strong. I fear that has a particular meaning that may not be translated well for me. I have never thought of myself as a blokey bloke. I like that, blokey bloke. That's great. Much more at home in the kitchen than in the shed. I don't have a need to bang my chest and defend my own from all comers. But that doesn't mean that duty and responsibility are not an integral part of my persona. And many thanks for both the webcast and the service. Cheers, Andy from South Africa. P.S. If we could post questions ahead of time, there may be a dual benefit. That's a good idea, posting questions ahead of time, too. I'm saving this, and you have a lot of good ideas in here. Let me just comment a little bit on that strong. A woman looking for a strong man. What does that mean? Someone that's got these huge muscles and everything, and it's not what they're talking about. They're talking about mentally strong. They're talking about being able to deal with life, being able to deal with problems, being able to be the man, to take control. That has nothing to do with physical strength, right? That has to do with mental strength, with integrity, with your character. They want a strong character, right? That is so important to these women because they're coming from a place where the men, unfortunately, because of what's been going on there, because of the culture, because of the economy, because of a lot of outside forces, you know, have really kind of beaten them down and made it very difficult to be a man in the Ukraine. And there are a lot of wonderful men there really are. But there's also a lot of problems there and the culture. So the women are looking for a strong man who's going to help with the family, who's going to, you know, be strong enough to pick up the baby and care for a baby, right? You would think, oh, well, that's a weak person. And actually, one of my partners did that once when he just had his child many, many, many years ago, right? We're talking now probably about, you know, 17, 18 years ago when she was just a 2-year-old child. And he actually was holding the child, and some of the men were kind of laughing at him and saying things in Russian, and they're like, that's women's job, that's women's work. You know, men don't do that. No, I'm sorry, strong men do that. Strong men help, and they raise a family, they take care of the children, they love the children, those kind of things. So, you know, that's what that means, I think. At least that's my interpretation on it. All right, I'm pontificating too much. Kevin, you have to come over and slap me if I got too, yeah, thank you. Just a little bit of a hit when I get going too much here. All right. John, I was told by Lady Day and Key that they are locked down until March. Yeah, don't believe everything you're told. That lockdown, I do not believe, is going to last until March. But if it does, at least we can still do our tour in April then, hopefully. You know, this current lockdown, so to speak, in the Ukraine is supposed to last till January 24th. I imagine they are going to extend it. That's why we did not do our tour there at the end of January, because it's just not all of a sudden just going to be, okay, everybody just go crazy and go out. So, yeah. But, you know, to different degrees, it'll probably go on through February. So, to some extent, yeah, probably until March, but that doesn't mean that you still can't travel there and still do one-on-one things and stuff like that. So keep in mind. All right. Garrick says, excited to visit Ukraine for the first time in May. Do you have tours by then? Well, if you look at our schedule, we have tours going off in April and then again in July for the Ukraine. So if you want to go in May, you might have to do a club with us, where we call the Euro Club, where you can just pick the dates that you want to go, and our staff will work with you. And by the way, the staff over there is amazing. The women there that are working with you, and it's mainly all women, but they do such a good job of what they do. And they've been with us for so long. I mean, I'm so proud to say that we've had some of the same staff members there for over 15 years. And I think that says a lot about an organization when you can have people there for that long doing what they're doing and still have, and they have the passion to do what they do and help you make your hopes and desires a reality. So if you can go and do a club, they'll work with you every day for 7, 10, 14 days, whatever duration you want. You can go on the website, you can find how that works, or call us and we'll tell you, but it's really inexpensive. It's, right around $1,000 for a 7-day, personalized matchmaking experience where you're going on multiple dates every day with the different women, airport pickup, fiance visa kit, platinum membership. It's all included. So it's the best value on the planet when it comes to matchmaking. All right. Let's see here. Keith says, hey, John, when's the next social event happening? Well, it was going to be this Friday in Medellin, but that got canceled because of the government there. So the next one's going to be next Friday in Barranquilla, as long as the Barranquilla mayor doesn't do what the Medellin mayor did, and we're hoping that they don't. They haven't yet. So the next social event will be next Friday in Barranquilla, Colombia. All right. Blue, who is the group leader for the April Key tour? Come on, Blue. Did Joe get you to call? Did Joe put you up to this? I think he did. But yes, it is Joe. Joe's the police officer that's led many of a tour for us, and he is scheduled for April. And I think if we have to cancel April, he's going to go into such a deep, deep, dark depression that we won't know what to do with him, because he hasn't been over there in almost, like a year and a half now, because we haven't been able to do any of the tours. And he does lead a couple every year, and he just hasn't had that opportunity. And he loves going over there with you guys and helping you guys and interacting with the staff and the women and everything. So he will be extremely depressed if he can't lead that tour in April, but I'm hoping that he can. Plus, one of his favorite tour destinations is Dnipro and Zaporozhye, and that second tour after that Kyiv-Kharkov tour is to Dnipro and Zaporozhye, and I know he's really looking forward to going there as well. So we're hoping. All right. Let's see here. Patrick, yeah, don't forget about the poll question, people. No one's told me yet their strict plan, their concrete plan on how they're going to change their life, right? What are you going to do in 2021? What are you going to do? How's it going to be different than 2020, right? You have to make a conscious effort to make it different. Otherwise, you're going to do the same thing every day. I mean, that's just how it is. I like pizza. I can't eat it every day. But when Friday comes for lunch, it's Pizza Friday. I mean, I just do that every Friday. If someone wanted to assassinate me, because I go to the same place, they would know where to go. One slice, I get the same thing. I am in that rut. Now, I happen to like that rut, so I keep doing that. But I probably should change that up, right? But we get so used to these certain things, and we just do these things all the time by rote. I mean, you can get in your car. Sometimes your car is driving you where you need to go, and you don't even know what it's just taking you there. Yeah, you're driving, but you're on autopilot, and you just get there, right? Okay, that's not the way you want to walk through 2021. Sleepwalk through it. If you really want change, you need to make it happen. You need to put yourself in the background here that you're seeing on the screen here. You need to be one of the guys there. And I'm not saying if you are, it's going to change your life forever, but it will definitely put you on the road to changing your life, because you will see the opportunity. You will see all these different women, the way they look at the world, how it's different. Different cultures look at the world differently. We're not all the same. All right. Patrick says, already changed my life for the better after meeting my wife from the Philippines and brought her here, and I married her in 2019. Woohoo! Thank you, Patrick. That's wonderful. I love that. I'm so glad you did. Sounds like our applause machine's broken again. It's 2021, people. I've been trying to get a decent applause machine here for I don't know how many years. The management here. I'm gonna write a letter. I'm writing a letter now. Yeah, see, it's broken. It's like a one little circuit. But Patrick, I think it's wonderful that you've done that. You did change your life for the better, and believe me, guys, don't get me wrong. Some of you like your routine, and if you like your routine, you may not want to do this. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it, and if you get it, it will change your life, and it will dramatically change your life forever. And that's something you got to be ready for. I mean, we've worked with guys before where we've gotten them just almost to the altar, and then they said, "Oh my God, I don't want to change." And they freak out, and they get cold feet, and they back out. And I've seen that happen many times. First of all, you have to decide whether or not you're ready to change your life. And if you've been single for quite some time and you're in your 50s, let's say, it's going to be a little bit of a shock for you when she comes over and she starts, wanting to paint the walls a different color and move the furniture or burn the furniture, as Tanya wanted to do and did pretty much. And and get all new stuff and just change everything. And all of a sudden, you're staying up till 5 in the morning on New Year's Eve because your wife happens to love New Year's Eve because she's Russian, and you used to like going to bed at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve. No, that doesn't happen anymore. You change your life. But you know what? It's fantastic, because those things are going to make you richer and happier and just more fulfilled, because you now get to experience a whole different culture. She's going to teach you that and share that with you and do all that kind of stuff. And that's so cool. The different foods that you'll be introduced to. I didn't know what borscht was. I never even touched borscht until I went to Russia the first time, and now Tanya cooks it, and it's fantastic. I didn't know what this salty fish stuff was, or this stuff with fur on it. I swear it's fur. It grows, but they love it. They eat that. I still don't really like that, but still. Okay. Let's see. Joe says, I'm changing my life for the best by booking the next available tour to Eastern Europe. Fantastic. Good job. Keith wants to know, when's the next social event in Colombia? We just talked about that. That's going to be not this Friday, but next Friday in Barranquilla. Friday and Saturday, Barranquilla, Colombia. Sign up for it. All right. Greg says, I'm going to the Ukraine and hopefully meeting the one. I hope so too. For 2021, that's what you're doing, Greg. And that's great. But Greg, even if you go, and even if you don't meet the one, you are going to have such an amazing experience. You're going to meet some wonderful, just the staff alone is almost worth the trip. I understand you're not going there to meet the staff, but they're fun. They're going to take good care of you. They're going to treat you like family. And just by you going over there and meeting some of these wonderful women, you're going to find it fulfilling. You will. Unless you're one of those guys that, can find problems with any possible thing, then maybe you won't. But 95% of the guys that go over with us are extremely happy even after the tour ends if they didn't find someone, because of everything that happened. And we did everything we say we're going to do. Now, every once in a while you get someone that can manage to have a bad time, but you can find that person anywhere that's having a bad time. But that's what's cool about this, by the way, is that most guys that are going to complain about everything and have a bad time wherever they go, they won't do something like this. This is too different for them. This is too outside the box for them. They don't have the kind of attitude that will allow them to do something like this. Because the guys that do something like this are a little bit different. They are more adventurous. They are more fun. They are willing to go and do something like this when everybody's saying, oh my God, you're going outside the country. I'll find a wife. Are you nuts? You're going to lose a kidney or a liver or whatever. And so they won't go. And that's probably good, because I would rather not have them on something like this, because, they might make it more uncomfortable for the guys that are trying to do what they're supposed to be doing and having fun. And that is one of the things that's really cool about these tours, guys. And we don't talk about it enough, but the fact that you get to meet other guys on the tour that are kind of like you, like-minded, and you get along with them and you make really good friends. We have guys that make lifelong friends with other guys on the tour because they met and they bonded and, all that stuff. And I know you're not going over there to meet some guy friend. Okay, I get that. But it does happen, and it's fun. And they give you good advice, and they will help you. They're wingmen kind of, even though you're assigned a woman at every social who's your wing woman for the entire event. But at breakfast the next day, you're talking and you're sharing your experiences with the other guys, and they're giving you their insight and they're helping you, and I think that's wonderful. All right, I gotta start shutting up and getting into these questions, or we're never going to get through them. Yeah, there. Thank you. It's the virtual slap. I like that. All right. Let's see here. Joel wants to know, how can I join you guys on the next tour? Hopefully that was me getting you hyped up enough to do that. I love that, Joel. Or maybe you've been thinking about this forever and I have nothing to do with it, which is probably more of the truth. Just call us tomorrow. Call the number on the site, the main number, and then hit extension 2. That will get you over to tours and talk with Michelle or Gann or even myself. And we will tell you how to get on here, but it's really, really easy. In a nutshell, if you just want to do it online, you can go to the site, click on either the European tours, the Asian tours, or the Latin tours, and pick whatever tour it is you think you might want to sign up for. But most guys will pick that open reservation. And how that works is you pick the open reservation, and then it'll charge you a $475 open reservation. And that $475 goes into open status. And then when you're ready to apply it to a particular tour, you call us and we move it to that tour. But by doing the open reservation, you get a free platinum membership, you get a fiancé visa kit, you get, I think it's $50 towards express mail if you do want to write a few letters back and forth before you go. So you get all those things with your $475 deposit. But the best thing that $475 deposit does is it kind of makes your commitment. Okay, we're getting back to that. How am I going to change my life? Well, one of the ways you can change your life is to make a small commitment to actually getting on one of these tours and doing the tour. And by putting your $475 down, that will go towards that. So, and help you kind of cement the fact that, yes, I'm going. It may be the kick in the pants you need to then start really thinking, okay, now where do I want to go? Do I want to go to Thailand? Do I want to go to China? Do I want to go to the Ukraine, to Colombia, to Costa Rica, Peru, wherever it is you want to go? Then let us know where it is, pick the particular tour, and we'll move that $475 to that tour. And of course, it'll reduce the price of that tour by the $475 deposit. And you just pay the balance, and then you go. And you have an amazing time when everything's taken care of for you and all you have to do is worry about who you're going to date next. Think about that. I mean, you're traveling to a foreign country and yet everything's taken care of for you. You're met at the airport, you're taken to the hotel, you're given a tour of everything, you're told how to buy water and goods and how the phone works and how the money works and how everything works. So you don't have to worry about reinventing the wheel at all. You're just within this cocoon of our office and they take care of everything for you, kind of womb to tomb type thing. And your only responsibility, literally, is to identify who it is you want to date and start going out on the dates. We even tell you where to go and what to do on the dates and all that stuff, and even provide interpreters and translators if you need it. I mean, everything. I mean, there's not much more anyone else could do for you than what we do on these tours. And that's what's made us so successful over a quarter of a century now. God, I sound old, don't I? Quarter of a century? Great. I'm getting old. This is getting scary. Jeez. Okay. Let's see. Duck, duck, duck. Joe says, hi, John. Thanks for your help when I was in Mexico over the holidays. Question, is it safe for an American man to do a city tour alone in St. Petersburg or Moscow? No problem, Joe. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. You are certainly welcome to call me anytime if you want more information on traveling to Russia, because I think you're safe. I think that, Moscow, I've been to both, and I've traveled around myself. I was just there, a couple summers ago, like a year and a half ago, in both St. Petersburg and Moscow, and we had absolutely zero problems with anyone. I mean, people know, look, we can't hide the fact that we're Americans when we walk down the street. Just people look at us, they know there's an American. Why? Well, because we smile a lot, we talk a little bit loud, we wear tennis shoes, Levi's, things like that. We just stand out, okay? We're Americans. Especially when you're in Russia, where a lot of people dress in black, they don't look at you, they don't smile so much at first. That's just their social cues. But just because you stand out, I don't think there's any danger. I mean, I think you're fine. There's been some political rhetoric between our countries over the last few years, but you got to separate the political rhetoric between countries and what the interaction is between the real people of those countries, right? I remember several years ago, I think it was right after 9/11 actually, Tanya and I were someplace and we decided to go to Egypt. And so we went to Cairo. And I was the only American on this tour bus. It was like this little cruise thing, and then you got off and then they took you on a bus to Cairo and then back. And I was the only American on, and people thought I was kind of crazy right after that, and that I had time to go to Egypt. But I had no problem, and I kind of got away from the group, and I was walking around talking, and I remember coming up upon this group of Egyptians, I guess, and they're talking to me, and they spoke good English, and we're talking, and they said, "Oh, you're American." I said, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, okay. Oh, you seem okay. But we, don't like Bush. We don't like Blair, but you seem okay, right?" I mean, they separated the politics from the people. And I guess that's what, in a long-winded way, that's what I'm trying to say in Russia, that when you meet people, whether it's Petersburg or Moscow, they love Americans. I mean, they want to get to know you. They'll ask questions about you. They are just very friendly. I've never, ever had any issues with being an American in, well, pretty much anywhere I've gone, but especially there. So, yeah, I don't think you'll have any issue at all. But talk to me before you go over there. Especially you talk to me, and we'll talk about it. Because if you're going to go to Petersburg, because we have the office there still, we don't have the office in Moscow. So if you go to Moscow, you're a little bit more on your own. In Petersburg, I can have you set up more. So, okay. Joe wants to know, when is the Ukraine tour in the summer? It's in July. Let me see if I can get to that for you. That is going to be July. July 15th is going to be Odessa Nikolaev, and then July 8th is Kiev Kharkov, and July 15th is Odessa Nikolaev. Okay? All right. And then we go back here. And Richard says, "I remember when a foreign affair was a paper, mail order catalog." Yeah, I remember when a candy bar was a nickel, too. And it was about the same time. It was like we started 26 years ago, and we started on the internet. We were the first full-service international dating company on the internet. But then we also had the catalog back then, too, at the same time. So simultaneously, we were on the internet and had the paper, call it a catalog, whatever you want to call it. And we would mail that out to the men. And we have a reverse publication that we actually gave to the women, where we put the men in there and their photos, and we would mail that to the women, and then the women would, write to the men that they thought were interesting. God, that brings me back those days. And that goes back to my earlier thing about that comment that our friend from Australia was talking about strong. How, is it really the blokey bloke men, as he put it? I love that term. I'm going to use that. And I remember being at a social, and I had those reverse publications with the pictures of the men. And we had this one man who was a bodybuilder, and he put his picture in without a shirt, just his body, right? And his muscles, right? And he's got like posing, and the way those bodybuilder guys do. I've never had that problem because I've never come close to having a body like that. I'm sorry, Tanya. But anyways, I'm showing this picture to the women saying, "What about this guy?" Because he was complaining he wasn't really getting that many letters. And the women are looking at it and they're shaking their head. And he was a handsome enough guy, age fine, all that. But they're kind of shaking their head. And I'm like, "What's the problem?" And they're like, "Okay, first of all, I don't want a man who's prettier than I am. All right? And second of all, I think that if a man is all worried about his body and his muscles and everything, that he's got nothing up here. He's not clever. I want a man who's clever. I want a man who can take care of me, who can think, who can take care of the family. I don't need someone looking in the mirror all the time to make sure that his body's perfect. That's my job, to be having more of a body, type thing." And I'm like, okay. Okay, I can see that. That makes sense. So that takes me back to that question you had about strong. They want a strong man, but that doesn't mean so much body-wise. That means more mind, character, background, backbone, that kind of thing. All right. Chris says, poll question, "My resolution started back in 2020 and still on track. I decided to be financially ready to take a tour. COVID interrupted, but Costa Rica this fall will happen for me!" Exclamation point. Yes. Chris, fantastic. And you know what? I love the fact that you said what you said about waiting until you're financially ready to take the tour. I talk about this all the time, especially at the seminars, when we were doing the seminars in person, remember, back then, the old world. And I would talk about how, guys, okay, I want you to sign up today. You're here today. I want you to do at least that $475 deposit, so, you know, before you leave this room, you're going to, you know, make that commitment to yourself to do this. But, if you're not ready financially to make that commitment, right, then don't do this. I don't want you to sign up today because it's not a big financial commitment. Our tours are the best value on the planet, and they're really not that much money. It's about the same cost as a regular vacation. But, you know, there's also the fact that you're looking for a wife, and you want to be ready financially for that too. You don't want to just walk into that where don't know where your next rent payment's going to come from, right? So you want to be somewhat, you don't have to be, you know, Bill Gates, but you want to be somewhat financially ready and responsible before you go on one of these tours. You don't want to put it all on credit cards and be paying off at 18, 28% interest for the rest of your life. Don't do that. That's not wise. You know, so be in a position where you can afford to take the tour and feel comfortable about it so that you're not worried about every little dime and you're not like freaking out that you have to get married because you spent this money to go on the tour. That's not the right mindset to go on a tour. And so by you saying that, just brought back those memories of what I've talked to guys all the time about that is, you know, yes, we want you to go, but we want you to go when it's the right time for you to go. All right. James says, hi, John, I've done one seminar already. Do I have to do another one to get the deals for a tour? Yes, James, yes, you do. You have to sit through, and you have to do it with me, and suffer through another seminar and the sandwiches and the whole bit. And you should want to do that because it's enjoyable and fun. And if you do that, talk to me and maybe I'll give you a little extra. But the rule really is that, you know, those seminar only discounts are good for that day. You're supposed to do it that day. That's one of the things about going. So if you sat through the whole damn thing and you didn't do anything that day, then shame on you. You should have. So go again to another seminar, and if you're going to go on tour before a seminar physically takes place, then call and talk to me, and we'll work it out. But go to the seminar again because they're fun and you'll enjoy it. And if I'm doing the seminar, which I probably will be, then come talk to me because I think it's great. I'll make it worth your while. Come again. It'll be fun. All right. Chris says, John, I have been on just about every Latin social tour and have met several beautiful women, but not the right one yet. I'm looking forward to going on a Ukrainian tour, hopefully this summer or fall. Thanks for providing this platform for single older guys looking for love. Chris. You're not that old, Chris. Come on. And it's not just for single older guys. I mean, on this tour that we had, that we just had to cancel in Medellin, we had like 5 or 6 guys in their early 30s. And I thought that was fantastic, right? So it's for all ages. It really is. But I'm so glad that you're going to be trying another country. That's wonderful, Chris. I hope that it works out for you. There's beautiful women everywhere, you know, Colombia, Ukraine, everywhere. It's just amazing. But it's what's inside that's even more amazing. When I get to know many of these women and talk with them, just so wonderful. Yeah, you're always going to get a few that might, you know, oh, well, John, what about this or that? Yeah, you can always have some issues or problems that can happen with the men and the women. But the vast majority of women and the vast majority of men that use this service are using it for the right purpose, the right reason. They really are. I really believe that. All right. Larry. Oh, Larry, is that you? All right, Larry. John, I plan to start the visa for Alina. Oh, fantastic. In April. Is the embassy processing CR1 visas at this time? You know, you're going to have to check with the attorney. I believe they are, but you should check with that. But you guys are doing that? That's fantastic, Larry. Call me, Larry, and fill me in. I haven't talked to you in a while. Give me a call. Let's talk. Yeah, that's fantastic. Love to see you there, Larry. That's great. Okay, now I'm getting behind. I got a lot more. I'm going to get in big trouble again. I'm going to try and get through these. I am. But I know, there goes that slap again. It wasn't my fault. My watch was wrong. I didn't really, you know, time goes by so fast. These things are just fun to do. And now it's already an hour past, and now the union people are going to get mad and all those people. But all right, I'm just going to keep going. And if they turn me off and I'm talking, I'm going to check because sometimes they just unplug me and I keep going and I'm not even on anymore. That could happen. If that happens, write in and let them know. You shouldn't have unplugged John. I'm going to get unplugged on my. There's going to be like a machine I'm hooked up to. And well, Tanya, she's against unplugging. She probably won't unplug me. All right. I got to shut up and get these things going. So, what is the pricing on a social event trip to Colombia? It's cheap, Keith. It's like $2,300, $22.95 or something like that. I mean, and that includes the hotel for 6 nights, 7 days, all the socials, all the unlimited introductions, airport pickup, breakfast every morning, platinum membership, fiancé visa kit. I mean, on and on and on. I mean, for that. I mean, come on, you could spend that on a really, really fancy dinner with someone for one night if you really got to, the fancy champagne. But yeah, so it's a great deal. All right. Julio, I'm from Mexico, and I would like to know if Ukrainian women would be interested in a Mexican man. Why not? Look, it's about you making her interested in you. So you go over there. I don't care if you're from Mexico or Peru or wherever. And we've had men from Peru and men from Mexico have gone to the Ukraine. They've done very well. So it doesn't really matter. You just need to go over and, you make it happen. You impress them. We put you in front of them. All right. We get you up to bat. You need to hit the ball. All right. And we get you up to bat a lot. And, if you think about that analogy, it's just like in baseball, because if you're batting 300, you're doing really, really well. But what does that mean? That means that you're striking out 7 out of 10 times, right? And you're getting a single, or you're getting a hit, or you're getting something 3 out of 10. At least I think that's what that means. And I'm not that much of a baseball fan, but I'm pretty sure that's what that means. So, when you go and you do one of these tours, you're going to get in front of a lot of women. We're going to put you up to bat, so to speak, a lot of times, over and over and over, whatever it takes. And you're going to strike out quite a few times, because that's how it works. And that's how it should work. Not every woman's going to be madly enamored with you, and you're not going to be madly enamored with every woman that you meet. And that's how life is. Thank God. It'd be hell if it was the other way around. If you were madly enamored with everyone, how could you survive? I'd have to go shoot myself. But, life isn't like that, thank God. So the point is that it is a numbers game. And you have to meet a lot of different people. And we'll do that. We'll get you up to bat. But I don't care if you're from Mexico or the moon. You make it happen. And you can. So, yeah. Impress them with your Spanish, too, just have fun with it. It's great. Oh, my God, we have a lot of questions left here. Jeez. That's why I need Dina here or someone to help, because this isn't good. All right. Let's see. Sly. Most guys never saw it. Old Gene Hackman movie, Mail Order Bride movie, 1972, Zandy's Bride. Check it out. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if I saw that. I have to go check that out. I think I might have. Gary, John, hi John, already booked for Cebu. Hopefully it happens in August. I'm hoping, Gary. Hi John, since the Medellin tour groups are being limited for the quantity of men allowed to participate, will that also limit the quantity of ladies at the socials? If so, what number of ladies can we expect at the socials? Thanks, Joe. Well, we'll still do the same ratios, Joe. We usually do a 6-to-1, 7-to-1 ratio of women to men. So if we limit the men to, say, 10, then there'll be still 60 to 70 women in attendance. And so that's kind of how that'll be. And that's, that works out pretty well. So it'll still be the same ratios. All right, Edward says, does AFA screen the ladies on the website, and what, if anything, is done? I talked with a woman with a profile website, and her profile has since been removed. Yikes, can I find out why her profile was removed? And the poll question, goal, got 2021 is to travel to Europe, with the first stop is Ukraine with the April 2021 tour. I like that goal, Edward, make it happen. Put down your reservation, at least you open, you'll make that happen. Yes, we do. We do screening on the women. I mean, they have to show government ID. We have to make sure that they are who they say they are. We call, if they're coming through one of our affiliates, we'll talk with them. We'll make sure they understand what this site is all about. We look at photos, we do reverse engineering on the photos or reverse lookups. We do all those things. But on the other hand, if they tell us they're a doctor, we don't go and hire an investigator to make sure that the paperwork is in line and she's a doctor or she's a dentist or a teacher or whatever. No, we don't do that. And I don't know of any site that does, actually. And we don't do that with you either. We do a little bit of screening with you guys as well. But yeah, for the most part, though, these women are wonderful and they are who they are. Every once in a while, you might get some ringers, but that's going to happen on any site. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Enrique wants to know any plans for a Mexico tour. We're just trying to get the tours done that we can get done that we've been doing. So we're not adding any new tours at this stage because of what's been going on here with COVID and everything. Dean, hi John, this is Dean, 31 years old from Denver. Poll question, I have a vision plan to use this year to develop myself in key ways and solidify some essential habits so I can be ready for my trip to Ukraine in spring of 2022. Would you recommend focusing more on connection than age when it comes to dating women, or should age preference be a significant factor in choosing women to date? Also, how do you recommend avoiding falling in love with your translator? Yeah, I like that. The translators look just as gorgeous as the other women. Thanks, John. Hope we can start doing seminars again soon. So do I. I love Denver, and I'd love to get back up there. So real quickly on that, age is important, but at your age, at 31, yeah, I mean, even if it was a 10-year age difference, she'd be 21. I mean, you've got the whole gamut there, so I wouldn't worry too much about age. The thing is, if you're 31 and you're looking for someone, you meet someone who's 31, you're going to have to prove to her that you're mature enough to handle her, because she's going to think you're too young. Most women want the man to be 10, 15, even 20 years older than she is. At your age, you're probably looking at someone obviously in their 20s. So I wouldn't worry too much about the age. I'd be worried more about the woman and making sure that connection there is what it needs to be, because a lot of the women there are just so much more mature for their age. Yeah, they're still young, especially women 18, 19, 20, 21, and they're going to change a lot. You're 31, so you know how you were when you were that age. But there's some really mature women there as well at that age level even. So you have to see what's right. You got to remember too, you can't take our frame of reference and bring it over there and employ our frame of reference, meaning that, women there marry early. They marry, and when I say there, we're talking about the Ukraine right now, but they marry quite often when they're 19, 20, 21. If you're a woman and you're 26 and you're not married, oh my God, the family's worried about you. It's a big deal. So that's a different mindset, right, than what we have here in the States. But your thinking is dictated by what you know, which is here in the States. But you've got to start researching a little bit more about what their mindset is, so that when you go over there, at least you can understand that and understand where they're coming from. And that will help you to better decide what you think you need to do. All right. Talk. Radium Clock says, time to get these seminars going. Can't let COVID stop everything. Yeah, tell that to my wife. I understand that, but this whole COVID thing, I get it, but it's still very difficult to do these things, but hopefully soon. Jeff says, hey John, I called Thursday to try to book a tour or VIP, still undecided, left my name and number and email, still haven't heard nothing back. Is that normal? No, that's not normal. I don't know who you called and left that message with, but call again, ask for me, and I'll make sure that we try and take care of that. So I don't know who you left that with, and I apologize if no one got back to you. It is a little bit disjointed right now because of COVID, and we don't have people in the office like we normally do as much, and so we had to change our whole phone system, and it could be that something fell through the cracks. So please call again. Again, I hate blaming things on COVID, but that's difficult when you have 90% of your office working from home and calls going all different ways. It's not like it was a year ago when everybody was here and we were one big happy family in the office working, and it was a lot tighter and easier to do. Dave says, good evening, John. I plan to change my life by going this year to Ukraine. Fantastic. I got a video from a lady via AFA mail. How can I send a video to her? Do I email the video file to... I knew that was going to happen. So we're working on that. That's a new thing that the women can send videos now attached to the letters, and that's great. You get to see them a little more and everything. We don't have it going reverse yet, but we will. The technology is there. We just need to get on it. So give us a little bit of time, and we'll get it to where you can actually send a reply video back. It's just, unfortunately, with COVID and everything, not COVID, with IMBRA and everything, we have to be careful about, not allowing the contact information to go through until IMBRA's satisfied and all that. It's usually when you meet. So we have to be a little careful how we do those videos, but we'll get into that, and we will be doing them. Dell says, greetings, John. I totally agree with you 100%. Nothing beats face-to-face interaction. How can I set up a Skype call with a potential lady? P.S. Dell from Phoenix. Phoenix, Del, you're wonderful. I love it. Just call in here tomorrow, and we'll work with you getting a Skype call set up with whoever it is that's going to help you do that. But yeah, we'll get that set up for you. Just give us a call. Dave from Rochester. Gotta love Dave from Rochester. God, it's getting late. I'm going to get in trouble. Hey, John, I'm in countdown mode. Only 25 more weeks, Mondays, until my flight lands in Odessa on Monday, July 12th. After the trip last year, I'm training for an online job so I can spend more time in Odessa and possibly move there in 18 to 24 months if things go well. I told you last year was my first vacation ever anywhere. To the guys on the fence, just do it. Step outside the box and see what life has to offer. Woohoo! All right, Dave from Rochester. That is fantastic. Yeah, Dave's amazing, great guy. And, you know, think about that. He's thinking about possibly moving to Odessa. And, you know, guys, a lot of our guys will do that. You know, they'll move because they understand that they can live better in a lot of these different places on the money they have than in the States even. So, yeah, it's great. McKissick says, how do your patrons typically dress for the socials in Colombia, in the Ukraine? Suit and tie, business casual. In Ukraine, it's more suit and tie, a little more dressy. In Colombia, it's a little less dressy because it's normally hotter and everything there. So, but business casual, nice slacks, polo shirt, something like that. In Colombia, in the Ukraine, they tend to be a little more formal, a little dressier. So a suit works a little bit better there. Bradford says, what's the issue? John, what are the issues with dating a Russian girl with a 30-year age difference in age? Can I do a social in Kyiv and then fly to St. Pete to do a club? Thank you for your time. Certainly you could do a social in Kyiv and then go do the club in St. Petersburg. No problem with that. And a 30-year age difference, I will tell you, can be tough. It's not impossible, but it's a 30-year age difference. And there's going to be, once you start getting much over that 20-year age difference, I think the risk factor just goes up because the different generation, just different. But I've seen them work, and I've seen them work well. But just be a little careful and make sure that everyone's got the right mindset, the right agenda, so to speak. Because when you get those larger age differences, sometimes the women are looking for a little more of certain things out of the guys, and sometimes the guys are fine with that. And everyone can be fine as long as everybody knows what's involved. Okay. I'm almost done here, guys, because I got to get out of it. We're going to go way late here. John, with the new, Mark wants to know, with the new strain of COVID, I wonder if the Philippines will open in 2021. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to depend on that vaccine. From what I understand, the vaccine is working with the new strain of COVID, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. He's got to get the vaccine going, and they're not doing very well, as McKissick has asked, of disseminating the vaccine in Ukraine or in Colombia yet. And they're not doing very well within the U.S. even. So, I knew that was going to be an issue. I knew it wasn't going to be, it's a new year, 2021, and everything's great. No, it's still a problem, and it's going to be a problem for at least a few more months. I'm telling you, it's not going to be probably till summer, till things get anywhere close to what we might consider normal, and it's probably not going to be till next year until that really happens. All right, Brian says, hey, John, any word on Asia, or is it still lockdown? To change my life, I would have an open mind when going to the socials or club tours. Yeah, an open mind is an amazing thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's a good thing to have when you're going on the tours. Asia is still locked down. China, Philippines, Thailand, still locked down. Let's see. Wage slave. Can I wear an Adidas tracksuit to fit in with the socials? I don't really want to wear dress pants and shoes the entire time I'm in the Ukraine. You can wear whatever you want to wear, and we'll let you in as long as it's not obscene. But if you go in there with an Adidas tracksuit, depending on how you pull it off. I've seen guys go in really cash looking, but they got that kind of cool deal going, and the women are okay with it. But the women think that you're kind of disrespecting them with the way that you're dressed and just not looking very good, then you're kind of blowing your opportunity. So, it's got to work for your chemistry. If a tracksuit, if you fill out that tracksuit and you look cool and the women are attracted to it, then wear it. But if the women are like, what the hell is he doing here with a tracksuit, and you blow everything because of that first impression, then that's a problem too. I'm not saying you got to wear a suit. I'm not saying look, everyone's unique, everyone's different. If you look at the video here, not everybody's wearing a suit and tie. right? You see guys with just shirts. You see guys with just a T-shirt with a little jacket over it. Everybody's got their style. So go with your style. That's fine. You know, I have a guy. I love him. He knows who he is. I mean, he'd go to the Ukraine, and he'd join some of our socials, and he would go in with a Hawaiian shirt and some slacks and sandals. And he'd do all right. You know, he was able to pull that off. And other guys, I've had guys wear a tuxedo. I mean, dressed to the nines, and they'd stand out. I'd have some guys from Texas or North Dakota go in total cowboy attire. They got the big Stetson hat on. They got the big belt buckle. They got the Levi's, the nice, cowboy shirt. And women loved that. I mean, they really stood out, and they pulled it off. Now, if you're a dime store cowboy, you probably don't want to do that, because you got to have that. You got to be able to carry it, right? You got to be able to have that. But those guys that wear that attire, they do really well. So just go with you. You be you, so to speak. You use your style. All right. Odessa in July, Larry. Not totally sure yet who's going to do that one. John, what's your answer to the poll question? My answer is to try to do my very best to get these tours going in 2021 for you guys. That's how I want to change my life, because I want to do the seminars again. I want to get the tours going again. I want all that to happen for you guys. And so thank you for asking that question, Larry. But that's what I want to do in 2021. And we're working for it. We almost had it. We were this close to doing the first tour in Medellin. I mean, Maria's probably still crying because we couldn't do it. I mean, it's just this close. And then the mayor made this proclamation that Friday, and it's like, oh my gosh. I can't even explain to you how bad we all felt about that. But we got our high hopes for Barranquilla next Friday. And if that happens, then hopefully Cartagena right after that. And that will be the first tour we've done since March. So almost a year since we've been able to do a group tour. But we're trying. And it's not easy. I mean, there's a lot of work they put into getting that whole Medellin tour up and going, right? We did all the logistics. We did all the work, calling all the women. We did all that. And then just, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do this now. I mean, imagine how the staff feels. Imagine how they feel. Imagine how the guys that were signed up feel. It's not good for anyone. But, it's the age in which we live in right now, and we have to roll with the punches. And we'll roll with them. We can deal with it. We can handle whatever COVID wants to dish out. We'll be here. Don't worry. We'll outwait it. But we'll do it. We're going to get it done. All right. If I keep talking on this show, they're going to kick me. They're never going to let me do another show. I mean, it's going to come to that point. Yeah, see? Yeah. But I'm just trying to get through to these questions here. I feel bad for these guys. They're asking these things. Chuck wants to know, for the April 2021 Ukraine tour, if we go on both tours for the full 70 days, how do the guys get from Kyiv to Odessa, Zap, Dnipro? Go for 2021, start to drink Mountain Dew and drink Mountain Dew in Ukraine. You guys are funny. Okay, that's funny. Hey, it helps, okay? It's diet Mountain Dew, but it does help. It just gives you that little kick, I'm working here all day, and then I get to get in front of you guys. I mean, look, if there was a room of you guys, I don't need the Mountain Dew for that, because I get the energy from you guys. But it's a stinking camera and a monitor. It's all I got in here, And the crew back there who are giving me dirty looks because I'm going way late, and they want to go home. And yeah. But so I need some artificial stimulation. I don't know. How am I going to get you from Kyiv to Odessa? Probably a train. And we don't charge extra for that either, I'll have you know. But that's that overnight train, and it's a blast. And I've heard rumors that sometimes those tour will smuggle on a bottle of vodka on that overnight train. And, they'll do some shots. And you're an American on this overnight train going from Odessa or Kiev to Odessa through the heartland of the Ukraine, and doing like a shot of vodka maybe on this. I mean, who does that? I mean, when in your wildest dreams would you think? I think that's just amazing when you sit back and think about it. And I've been on that train ride before overnight, and the Ukrainian people, yelling at you and stuff going on, and you're with this little group here, and you wake up and all of a sudden you're in Odessa, and Anna's there to meet you at 6 in the morning at the train station, and you get to the hotel and you're having breakfast. I mean, it's just amazing when you think about it. Who Name one of your friends right now, for any of you guys who are listening to me, that have done something like that, that would do something like that. Unless maybe you're in the military, okay, or stuff like that. But this kind of travel and the things that we're doing is just so unique. And that's why I keep saying you get so much more out of it. Yeah, it's a crazy train ride, but those are some really fun memories. And for some of you guys that were on that train ride with me over the years, because I've been on many of them, you know what I'm talking about. James, if you're out there, yeah, James, he stole the bottle of vodka. No, I'm not admitting to that online, but yeah. Richard, fun on it, fur on it. Oh, fur on it. Yeah, Richard, fur on it. It's this like fluorescent dish with fish, this salty fish, and then they put this other stuff and this kind of cheese stuff, and then it says hey, there's fur on this stuff, and they eat it on New Year's Eve, the Russians. It's crazy, and any of you Russians out there, you know what I'm talking about. It grows. I, in 25 years now, have still not had the courage to do it, to eat it, but it's there, and it scares me. All right. McKissick. For the poll question, I would like to lose weight, get my wardrobe and finances in order, and finish law school and prepare for the February 2022 California bar exam so that I will be in a better position to go on a tour the next year. Well, do all that, McKissick. Get it done. Write it down. Look at it. Put it on your mirror when you shave every day or whatever and say, oh, yeah, I got to do this. I got to do this. Losing weight, put a damn scale in your bathroom and put yourself on the scale every day. Every day. And weigh yourself every day. I think that works because if you start to gain, you're like, oh shit, I'm gaining weight. And then you start, eating differently and you lose. Keto, I'm not going to tell you how to lose weight, but the keto thing seems to work pretty well. But you got to weigh yourself, I think, every day. Otherwise, it gets out of control. And then you're like, oh crap, I'm 20 pounds away where I want it to be. Oscar, hello, John. When ladies state on their profiles they are sexual, what do they mean by this? I think they mean, yeah. That's what I love about the differences in language and the words. My wife, hopefully she's not watching, on her profile, she put that she was lusty. And she also put, by the way, that she likes to do housework. And I had met her before I ever saw her profile. And I fell in love with her before I ever saw her profile. I never wrote a letter. I never even knew she existed. She was at the social. I met her, never saw her profile. But then after I met her, I wanted to go read her profile. I wanted to see what she said. And yeah, she said that she was lusty and that she likes to do housework. And I'm thinking, wow, a lusty housekeeper? I'm thinking French maid outfit every day. And oh, this is great. Well, it turns out she totally lied. I don't know about the lusty part, although she misinterpreted lusty for passionate. She thought it meant passionate, and she is passionate. So yeah, but she doesn't like to do housework. Yeah, she totally lied. So guys, you got to watch out on those profiles. Not everything the women say is always going to be etched in stone, and yeah. We share the housekeeping. Yeah, but the French maid thing, no. Where am I here? What was the question? Why did I start talking about that? There was a question here. Oh yeah. Sexual. So sexual. When a woman says that on her profile, my guess would be she means sensuous, right? Sensuous. And guys, women are going to be more sexual, more sensuous in places like Eastern Europe, in places like Latin America and Asia, than the United States at least, because the United States has got to be the most repressed place in the world. If many of you have never traveled, but when you start to travel to other countries, you'll see that they actually like sex. And they'll talk about it. And in the stores, there'll be like magazines that are all covered up with the body, and they're not ashamed of the human body and those kind of things. Whereas in the United States, we act like it's this terrible thing, we hide it, and it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. But then when you get behind closed doors, people go crazy because they've been repressed their whole life. What do you do when you tell the child you can't have a cookie? They go behind your back and take 10 cookies. But when you grow up knowing that, it's okay, that sex is not really a terrible thing, then it's more of a healthy adjustment to it, I think. At least that's my take on it, and I'm sticking with it. All right. Mark says, John, to answer tonight's poll question, I'm going to the Philippines in 2021 as a way to change my life for the better. Fantastic, Mark. That's what you need to do. Joe says, how much money should I bring for daily expenses for your tour in Ukraine? Other than maybe some extra money you might need for interpreting, it's pretty much like a regular vacation, although you'll be doing more dating, so somewhere around like $100 a day or so, something in that neighborhood, because you're going to go on maybe 2 dates, 3 dates. You go into restaurants and stuff like that. So on a tour, you can easily spend that, souvenirs, things like that, maybe a little bit more. You might, but something like that. Leonard. Leonard from Thailand. This is our office manager in Thailand. So Leonard says, hey, John, glad to see that you are recovered from your accident. Thank you, Leonard. I am doing much better. To change my 2021 for the first time since I started working with AFA, I'm going to celebrate being English by having a party for the early arrivals on the April tour to Thailand. Okay, so he wants to start that on the 23rd, St. George's Day. It's the first time I can remember when April 23rd was not a mainstream day of the tour. For our American viewers, April 23rd for the English is like July 4th. Very interesting, even though we're going to Thailand, but because Leonard is English, we're going to celebrate St. George's Day. I think that's very wonderful, Leonard. I think that's cool. I hope that we're going to be able to do that tour in April and that everything's good in the Ukraine by then. Tim says, does your company assist men on moving to the Ukraine? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Tim, we're doing more and more of that. And we're going to have a site up here soon on helping men do that, not just for the Ukraine, but other areas as well, as far as like purchasing real estate, moving there, all that kind of stuff, because we have a lot of call for that, a lot of men doing that. So we want to give you more advice on how to do all that. So that we're working on that, but working on a million different things, but hopefully that will be up soon too. Bruce says, when writing, receiving letters, what guarantee is there that they are who they say they are? Well, we really hope that they are, Bruce. We have policies in place that they're supposed to be, but if you're not, or if you're concerned about something like that, then definitely contact us. We look into it, and if there's any issues, we resolve it. We stand behind everything, so we guarantee that if there is a problem, then we will resolve it, but you need to contact us if you feel like there's ever any issue with any correspondence, or if you meet a woman in person, something's going on, let us know and we'll do our best to, or we will resolve it one way or the other. Okay. John says, a lot of women say like to travel is travel around Europe cheaper than the US. Not really. If you go to someplace like France or Italy, like if you're in Paris, it's actually more expensive than travel around the U.S., depending on where you're going. I mean, if you go to San Francisco or New York, that travel is going to be a little bit more expensive than if you're going to someplace probably in Mississippi or Missouri. It just kind of depends where you're traveling, but in general, European travel tends to be more expensive than travel here in the U.S. It's getting a little better. The euro came down, so the euro was always an issue. You had to pay more for that in the get-go, and then things were more expensive, but that's gotten a little bit better. Okay. And so Leonard says, no lockdown when you're already in Thailand. Sorry to contradict everybody. We had a curfew for 6 weeks last March. So yes, we hopefully, the only thing I could get concerned about is that countries go back and forth. No lockdown, lockdown, no lockdown, lockdown. So I'm hoping that April we're going to be absolutely fine in Thailand and be able to do that tour the way that we want to do it, and hopefully that'll be the case. And Tanya, the last one, says, you will need to find a new wife in 2021 if you will keep being late from the shows. Thank you, Tanya. Yes. I'm sorry, Tanya. I know, I was supposed to be there already. Oh my gosh, we went like 30 minutes. Oh yeah, we went late. I'm getting yelled at by my wife and by everybody over there with the union people. They hate me, I know. But I love you guys. I want to be here. I want to try to answer all the questions that we can. I did. I got through them all. I talk too much. That's my problem. So I have to learn to stop talking so much. That's why no one wants to be on the show with me, because they say I talk too much. And that's why they're probably not going to let me do this much more. Write in. Let me tell them, no, we want them once in a while at least. Guys, in all seriousness, I really do appreciate the fact that you take time out of your life to come here and listen to me pontificate about this. I mean, I do like to feel that after 26 years of doing this, I do have something to offer, some advice, and hopefully a little bit of wisdom on how to go about this. And I try to do my best by, this vehicle, the show, or by just calling in and trying to be accessible to the guys that call in and talk here, and the things that we write on the site and all that. Things like you don't have to write forever. You can go over and meet, and that's much better than taking the time to write. And if you are going to go over and you feel like you have to write, then do that with a plan. Do that, maybe a few weeks before you're ready to go. Those kind of things. I've been trying to say things like this over and over for many years. But I do really appreciate the fact that you take the time out of your nights here on Monday nights and come in and listen to us, and on Wednesdays for Rana's show and Maria's and others. I mean, that means the world to me. I think it's wonderful that you guys do that. And, hopefully we can repay that favor of you doing this by helping you, assisting you in trying to find the woman of your dreams, no matter where she is. And if what we say here helps you find someone domestically and you didn't use our service, that's great. Please let us know. That happened with a gentleman that actually took our tour, came back, and because of the confidence and everything he got from the tour, he ended up marrying a woman that he met at the car rental place on his way back in Montana. Fantastic. At least he got engaged to her, and I think he's married. Just happened not too long ago. So, I mean, I don't care where it happens. I don't care how it happens, as long as it happens. And hopefully 2021 is a year where it's going to happen for you. And if not, then it'll be 2022 maybe, okay? I mean, never say never. But, let's keep working and trying. Just understand it's not a seamless, wonderful, easy process. It's like making sausage. Sometimes it gets a little dirty in the process. But at the end of the day, hopefully, you come out with the one that you want to spend the rest of your life with, right? So, all right, I have got to go because I'm getting in big trouble. I appreciate all of you for being here tonight, and tune in on Wednesday. We will have, it'll either be Rana or it'll be Maria Gustavo, but someone from either the Philippines or Latin America will be on there talking about all those wonderful things, okay? All right, guys, till next Monday, be safe.